than what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Well. Yes, I am indeed alive. I am alive. And fairly well.
I didn't know that you were dead. Or that were there rumors of you being dead or something? What's going on?
People were thinking of me like they think of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We've heard that he's alive. We know he's eating somewhere. Where the hell is he? We haven't seen his face or heard his voice. I mean, not on my show. I haven't done a show since Friday. Look at these guys trying to make me look good. Thank you, Ron. Better known as God around here. God of tech. We are not worthy. No, thanks, Ron. Look, I look better out of focus, to be honest with you. Yeah. It's called a vanity camera for a reason.
I told him not to go in there. He's
like,
no, we got to fix it.
No, we needed somebody handsome to walk through to remind everybody that I have a face for radio. So.
That's awesome.
It's been a man. This bronchitis has been kicking my butt. I'm finally glad to be rid of it and almost get a good night's sleep once or twice in the last 2 weeks since I departed for Chicago. But anyway, yeah, Jeff, if I had longer arms, I'd focus that thing myself. But apparently, I can't figure it out. I need a dummy. I need like a cardboard cutout right here. Of Doc.
We could get you a bubblehead. Your own chef bubblehead.
Dude, I have a bubblehead. Awesome. I need a bobblehead. I have a bubblehead. I need a bobble.
Did I say bobble or did I say bubble?
I don't know. It's like pin and pin in Texas. Pin and pen, not pen and pin.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, no, that was right. It's pin and pen. Okay, so I have this big thing because I have a hard time hearing, right? So if you say something even slightly off, I have a very difficult time understanding what it was that you said. So if you say pin instead of pen, which in Texas, a pin is a pin, whether it writes or pokes, it's the same damn word. I can't tell what you're saying. You could put it in a sentence. I listen to the phonetics of the word. So it's pin and pen. Yeah, I know, man. My family's going to send me all these hate. My kids are like, stop it, Dad. You're embarrassing yourself. No, I'm not. Say it correctly. Or don't. I don't care. I can't hear you anyway. Jeff, it's good to see you back, man.
It's good to be seen, man. It's good to see you, too. So this bronchitis thing's been hurting you a little bit, huh?
Can I tell you, I literally yesterday was, at one point yesterday and the day before, was gasping for breath. I mean, my mother was a chronic asthmatic. Maybe that's where my guilt comes from. Okay, a lot of it, part of it's actual guilt, but a little bit probably comes from the fact that my mother, less than a week after I was born, developed asthma. And I know it wasn't because she had me. She actually, for the first time in her life, was tested for allergies because she was a lab technician at that point in her life at a hospital. And, but it kind of stuck. It was that timing thing. And she had severe chronic asthma. It was terrible. And I can't imagine what she felt like. I've lived with this for less than a week. She lived with it for 34 years. And I just can't imagine. I really can't. So God bless her.
So was this just a cold or something that turned into bronchitis, or is this legitimate? I mean, is this a lifelong thing you're going through?
No, it's not. So, bronchitis is bacterial. All right, let's talk a little bit about sanitation, safety and sanitation in the restaurants, folks, because can I tell you?
Wash your hands first.
I'm telling you, probably one of the most boring classes ever turned out to be the most important class I ever took in culinary school. But because it's bacterial, it could have started from anything. I went to Chicago, day 2, it cooled. It was really warm the first day. As a matter of fact, I walked 7 miles that day, just walking around the Schaumburg area near the airport. And I found a couple of cool little places to eat. I had a nice beef sandwich up there, but it was really hot and humid, and then it rained really hard and it cooled down, and the next day it was only in the 50s. The following day it was in the 40s. The high was 48 the following day, and rainy. And I wasn't out in it too much, but I think the change from hot to cold, the stress on my body, not sleeping for a few months. And I finally got some CBDs, though, from Dr. Brown, so I have been sleeping better the last 2 nights. But yeah, it just took its toll. I think the stress of doing this for the last 9 months, it's all positive stress, folks. It's just been a long, arduous ride.
Stress is stress. Your body doesn't recognize it either.
Positive or negative,
Right.
it doesn't matter. So, but yeah, I'm finally feeling, today I feel really good. I actually ate this morning. I had 3 breakfast tacos from Fuel City.
Wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
You breakfast tacos from a gas station?
Dude, it wasn't sushi. It was breakfast tacos. So have you not had breakfast tacos from Fuel City?
No.
They have a lot of locations around town, and I'm not sure if each Fuel City is run by the same family-owned taco shops. Damn, dude, they're good.
So it's a kitchen outside. I mean, it's like
They have a full kitchen in the back. Yeah,
Okay.
So they built it where the retail store's in the middle, and to the right is all culinary. Behind like the average 20 foot of shelving, and to the left is more of the shelving plus the coolers, and then you have the restrooms off to one, way down the hallway. So they've separated it, and they have they have 2 concepts there. One is the original pie shop, right? The fried pies that they have. They have sweet and savory. So they do one that's like beef and vegetable. They have a chicken, broccoli, and cheddar cheese. It's like this creamy cheese sauce inside. They have several. They have a vegetarian one, and then they have a sweet version, which they have one that's a vanilla custard, lemon custard, and then they have a couple of fruit-filled ones, which are seasonal, and they're really good. I mean, I'd never had, I'll be honest with you, other than I thought a fried pie was something you get from a fast food establishment. I didn't realize it was a whole food group in the South. But apparently I've been missing out because Doc and I actually many times would, for lunch or breakfast, oftentimes when he got off his show, I had several hours till his show, then my show started. So I'd say, hey, I'm going to run up to the, I like decaf. I know you can laugh at me, but you've seen me on caffeine. Hey, Jeff, did I tell you? Hey, we're going to talk to somebody today. Yeah, you got a phone call. It's like 9:30. I'm like, we got a phone call at 1:30. Don't forget. Hey, can we test the mics right now? Gwen, I'm sorry. I know your show's going on. Can we test the mics anyway? By the way, she laughed at me when I stayed with them in Chicago. If y'all don't know the story, I tried to test the microphones in the studio while one of our other shows was live, and it wasn't the first time. It was the second time in 3 weeks that I did the same thing. So when I was there, she might have teased me just a little. But
you're so cute. You're so cute when you're jacked up on caffeine. You really are.
I'm not on caffeine right now, but I do have 1/2 cup of regular black. So we'll see how I am the 3rd segment of the show or 4th segment. I apologize to my victims that are calling in today. Number one, I don't apologize to you, Jeff Wetzel. So Jeff Wetzel of La Bouvier Chef Services, also known as the Cowboy Chef. He'll be calling in from Bentonville, Arkansas. He's supposed to have a fishing report, but, I don't know. I think his boat's been broken or something because he's got this new podcast called Pond to Plate. And I haven't seen anything new on YouTube, nor have I seen anything new on Facebook, nor have I heard from him in a couple of weeks, except to ask a favor, which I'm going to make you ask publicly. Well, because I'll say yes. But he'll be calling in. Jeff's an amazing chef and really good friend of mine. And then also we have, we have the owner of Culinary Fight Club calling in. Yeah, Culinary Fight. Yes, I said Culinary Fight Club.
So you want to save it till the segment takes place, or you want to elaborate any?
The first rule of Culinary Fight Club is you don't say anything about, you don't tell anybody about Culinary Fight Club.
I knew it. My bad. I'm sorry.
No. So it's basically a chopped style showdown between any number of chefs. They have a minimum of 4 per competition. They have them in many cities. As a matter of fact, they had one in Chicago that was slated for the weekend, that Friday night that the National Restaurant Association show started. It started Saturday, and I was going to buy tickets, but they actually delayed that event because they didn't want to compete with the National Restaurant Association show, nor interfere with any of the chefs that were going to be doing demonstrations and things like that. So that's going to be very fun. You know what? I'll be honest. I don't know a lot about it, but it sounds interesting, and there may be. I don't know. I think they're going to ask. Look, there's a big question. Somebody's going to pop the question today. That's all I can tell you, and it's not on one knee. So, Jeff, Will you? Yeah, can I tell you how weird it was not to see your face there yesterday? Because I did the Try This Dish radio show with Sean Young. And Derry's just taking a couple weeks off because she started a new job, and we're trying to coordinate either doing a like a live tape show. But anyway, I looked over and I was looking for you, and Mike was there, and I'm like, "Who the hell's that kid?" Actually, he's a really nice young man. He did a great job.
He's a good kid. Yeah, absolutely.
And then he interjected one time, and I didn't realize he was going to. And he like I startled because I was looking at Sean. He was speaking this third, and then he stopped, and this other voice popped in, and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." So I got to teach him to make a movement so I know he's going to talk, so he doesn't frighten me or turn the table cut and see so I can see you guys. But he did a great job, and man, I'm telling you, this has been a long and very stressful road for everyone here at Cuddle Me Buff. That's our holding company. Not that we all lie around holding each other naked. I told you over and over. And look, I'm just going to tell you what it means because I've told everybody to look it up, and nobody takes the time. Jeff, do you know what it means?
I was told to look it up, and I thought, no, I'm not gonna. If you all, I mean, I figured let's just leave it the way it is.
Oh,
it's probably better
all
that
right,
I don't
after
know.
I listened to you talk to your son today.
Oh man,
I know. I'm
dude.
sorry. Hey,
Oh.
by the way, I'm praying for you. I am.
you.
And you know what?
Yeah.
He sounds like a bright young man.
He's a great kid, man. He's
Yeah.
just going down a path where it's like, look, this isn't going to work for him, but he hasn't hit bottom yet. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's like,
because then you either bounce up or you give up, and he doesn't sound like a giver-upper.
he's not a giver-upper, but I need him to hit bottom sooner than later. But, it's not my timing. It's God's. So I just got to hurry up and wait.
Well, I'm praying for him and you and the whole family. So, look, he sounds like a very intelligent man,
He's
young
got
man.
me as a dad.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wait, you stumped me there for a second. I was like, huh? Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, good job.
whatever.
No, but I'll tell you, you were an example of patience today, and it kind of reminds me of working in the kitchen. I was kind of an impetuous and very rash to judgment, quick to judgment, rash to action kind of a person in my younger days. If you could imagine Gordon Ramsay without any experience, that's kind of who I was when I first started out. Maybe a little less cursing and a little less belittling in front of other people, because I really believe that you should never embarrass an employee in front of another employee, regardless of what that person's position in the hierarchy of a restaurant is. Because I'll tell you what, a restaurant is a monarchy, right? And there's a specific role for each player. That's it. There, and you can actually, unlike the bourgeoisie and the serfs. Sorry, not serpents. Wrong book. Hey, don't look at me like I'm. It's been a week off the air, dude. I'm just trying to get back in the groove. But really, unlike, you could never go from a serf to a lord to a prince. You couldn't. So, but in the kitchen, you can. You can move up. You can go dishwasher, or prep to line to sous chef, expediter, whatever. You can move up easily. But it didn't. It doesn't matter where you are on the ranking, from general manager to the first day. Green as greenest of green, 16-year-old turned 16 years old yesterday, never held a knife in their hand employee. You have to show respect in front of other employees, but in private, I was often not kind. And so when I listened to you speak today, my kids actually started a blog called #MyDad'sADick. That's how overbearing. And yes, I'm being completely honest here. It's not there. But my dad is a beep. Yep, that was me. And it all started because I kind of came up with that name for myself. But anyway, we won't go into that story. But I was like, basically my son was not doing well. I know this is not on a food topic, guys, but I'm going to share a little bit about my children with you. My son is the sweetest young man I've ever met. He has the biggest heart. He works hard, and look, he tells you what he's interested in when he isn't, and what he's not interested in, he's not going to do unless he's required to, or he thinks that's that he should be doing that, as some social service or family service or whatever it has to be. But so one day he was not doing well in a physics class. He was in an AP physics class, AP Physics 2, and he's a junior in high school. And his best friend had taken the class the year before and done very well. And every day my son would stop by his friend Ben's house, and they'd do whatever. I knew they played video games, basically. They said they were doing homework, which was BS, but it's okay. So Damon, I said, look, the instructor said, why don't you work with Ben? And work with Ben, and you can go to his house every day, and there are 5 extra problems you need to do. You do those 5 problems, you catch up on your homework, you'll be fine. So one day it's like 6:15, he's not home yet, it's about time to serve dinner. And I say, hey, buddy, you coming home? And by the way, did you do your extra problems? And he hurriedly types back, which I'm sure he had to throw the remote across the room to do it, the joystick. He says, oh, no, I'm starting now. And I immediately, I waited about 30 seconds. And I put hashtag my dad's, and and he sent a bunch of question marks. I said, I'm sure that was the immediate thought that ran through your brain when I asked you if you'd done your extra problems. And he put back like 50 laughing faces, and he goes, how did you know? I said, well, because I was a kid once too. But so, so the whole thing, but it was like, what was it? Hashtag my dad's a you know what? Dick, not A or anything else. Hey, Richard Jr., right? Yeah, okay. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that name. It's a nickname. It's all good.
Richard Cranium.
Yeah, exactly. No, that part was not that. There was no surname, dude. There was no surname. So anyway, it was like pontifications or observations of an overbearing father. And that's kind of funny. Anyway, my kids are brilliant. My daughter Bailey graduated this weekend. God bless you. You have a bright future in front of you. She's the sweetest person I know, and she's a better cook than I am on occasion. So I got to up my game. I need to start cooking every day because she has made some stuff. She made a blueberry and strawberry pie for 4th of July 2 years ago that had it had wavy stripes as the top crust with stars cut out, and then the outline of the box for the stars. And I think I need to step my game up. And I don't know how she split the pie perfectly down the middle with fresh cooked down blueberries and fresh cooked down strawberries. It was amazingly delicious looking. And I never get to try it because I think I was in Bentonville, Arkansas at that time. But I need to step my stuff up. She's the only one in the family calls me out. I'm like, so how's it taste, Bailey? She goes, a little more salt, more time, Dad. Time as in time clock, tick, 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 or time as in the herb? No, the herb, Dad. Fresh, not dried. I'm like, dang, rough crowd. Glad I'm not on Chopped. I'd be the first round out. But anyway, so I had a point. What was I doing? Oh,
you were talking about your kid
yes.
and being able to be patient, and then you went down this.
Well, so it is being patient is a difficult thing, right? Especially as a parent. But I think even more so, or even just as important, is patience in the workplace. There are a lot of teachable moments in the workplace. I think probably more so than in any home life situation once you turn 18 or whenever you get full-time in the job force, because you typically spend more time at work with interacting with people at your workplace. No, I don't think this just applies to the culinary field. I think in any workspace than you do interacting with your own family at home, because you get home, everybody's cleaning up and relaxing and decompressing and cooking dinner, and then you may sit down or may not sit down for a meal, and Jimmy's going to go to Johnny's house and Sally's going to go to Jill's house, and you don't see your kids, and then they hide in their room, and and if the spouses are talking, then they don't talk, or they watch TV, or someone's on their phone, or the other one's watch, or somebody keeps working at home. So in the workplace, I think it's a huge opportunity to teach not just responsibility and respect, but also how to be humble, how to be fair. I don't believe in the word fair, like life's not fair. Well, no crap, life's not fair. I wasn't born, Richie Rich. I wasn't born Donald Trump or Donald Trump Jr. or Donald Trump III, okay? But everybody in this universe has the same access to money as anyone else. It's just about a lack of knowledge on how to find it, right? So we take the opportunity as mentors, right? Because you're not really you can be an employer, but I think more important than being an employer is being a mentor. And I say that because I never really, until I was well into my culinary career, had a mentor. I mean, I always jumped off the deep end. I was in a job that, demanded way more than my skills ever met. And somehow I struggled through. I kept my head above water, at least my nose, and managed to pull it off, except a few times. Like I've been fired more than most, and I'll admit that. But I learned a lot. And I've taken those, every one of those $1 million educations and taken it with me. Now, if I start making those millions, then that would be great. But I need to learn and remember to apply that knowledge. But anyway, being patient in the workplace is probably the most important skill I ever learned. It was more important, and being fair and just in my or how about being more patient in my rush to judgment, or not being rushed to judgment of any employee in their situation, because you don't know what they're going through, personal, in their workspace, in any other part of their life, as a parent, as a child, and until you listen thoughtfully, right, actively, listen to what's going on, then how can you make any judgment? I had an employee stealing one time, and they were stealing little things, but it was a young gentleman to come to work with me, and he was a pretty accomplished cook, actually, and he was one of my best guys, but I had to fire him. I pulled him in the office. I'm like, look, I looked at the cameras last night. I'm missing some inventory. I saw you stealing, and he stole, it wasn't an immense amount of money, but it was about $40 on average worth of product every couple of days. And, $40 at 30% food cost, you didn't just lose the $40, you lost the $120, $130 that would have provided you as income to have covered the cost and had some profit. So basically you lost, $150 to $170. And so we had a long talk, and come to find out his father had died. His mother was, with her other 4 children, had moved in with him. They were all younger. She was unemployable. She had a debilitating and chronic and soon to be lethal illness. And so instead I said, well, how about I bump you up a little bit on your hours, and I'll give you a little raise. And then if you want to work, because it won't count as overtime, if you want to pick up a shift on the front of the house schedule as a busser or whatever, we'll keep you at your kitchen pay rate. I'm sure I could talk to the GM. And it worked out. And he paid back all the product. Matter of fact, more than I knew he'd taken. He paid it all back. So, just listening is most times and oftentimes, very, very enlightening, and can be a good teacher of patience. Putting yourself in the other person's shoes is very important. Being able to see things from the other side. I try not to talk about politics, but it affects the food world as well. Look, I'm neither a fan nor an opponent of Trump. The economy's good. The trade with China is really affecting what I do right now, because I'm trying to raise some funds through a Chinese group to expand some restaurant projects in the United States, from some restaurant groups that were really hurt by some recent occurrences last year. And they have an amazing product, but they have to consider whether or not they can do that, because their other businesses are suffering because of what's going on in this whole trade war stuff. So anyway, be patient, be kind. Brutally honest is not a good term. Completely honest is better. And the 4 you start is being completely honest with yourself. Are you being fair? Are you trying to understand the person's point of view? And are you being a mentor and a beacon of light by being a good example? Doing, like I am not too proud to tell you, clean out the grease trap in a restaurant. As the executive chef, I have more than once stepped hip deep in stuff you don't want to know about into a 200-gallon grease trap, which is probably nastier than a septic tank. I'm just saying. Because, I can't, why would I force an employee to go in there if I wasn't willing to do it? But the next time I called the plumber. So, but yeah, I'm willing to mop the floors. I used to send my dishwashers home early on Saturday nights and say, hey, look, I'll finish up, man. You guys go home. Because for me, it was the end of the day. I was the only one in the restaurant. It was perfectly quiet. All you hear was the hood systems going, sounds like the AC unit in here. Here? Yeah, it sounds kind of like that. So, I would sit there, and I could think about the day, reflect on the people involved in the business. Was I doing the right things? Was I being a mentor? Was I being a teacher? And, all right. Anyway, we got a good caller coming up the next half an hour for probably at least 45 minutes, Jeff Wetzel. Yeah, dude, I've been waiting for several weeks for a fishing report, and now I think I don't have one, but you're calling anyway? Oh, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Anyway, Jeff Wetz will be calling in. And then at the bottom of the second hour, we will have Joanne McCartney of Culinary Fight Club calling in. All right. Well, the appetizer's done. Wasn't a lot of information there. Hopefully, I inspired you to be more patient and, show some love that people showed you over the years. All right. Come right back. 2 minutes. Listener starve.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter @Food Biz Pro.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-218-6473. 800-218-6473. 800-218-6473. That's 800-218-6473.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Wow, I almost forgot to unmute the mic there. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro, right here on Spoony Radio. Yeah, I'm glad to be back and able to speak. Spinning the dials, radio style. Spinning the dials, radio style? Is that what Doc used to say? Damn.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Something
I don't know.
like that.
$20, same as downtown.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we went to one of those, a restaurant supply store. Because we're going to get new aprons, right? And I was like, ooh, you know what? I ought to get one of these shirts like Chef Patrick has. And we were staring at it, and it was like we noticed there's buttons on the left and buttons on the right. And so we were trying to, like, what are we supposed to do with that? And I thought, you know what? I'll get the answer. I'll talk to the chef himself. So why is that a thing?
Well, because I want to look like Rusty from European Vacation, but I can't really fit into that sleek Italian suit. But actually, it's because when you're working in the kitchen, you get really dirty, or you get stuff on your shirt. So if they're actually double-breasted, so you can reverse it and you have a clean side all the time. Yep. Or if you're too lazy, like I often was, to wash your chef coat every day from when I was in culinary school and many years into the business, then you could just simply flip it over and, next day you had a semi. What's funny, you had a kind of a clean coat, but you have this line right here where the buttons are. And so anything that got outside of that was dirty. And anything that was outside of this button was dirty. But right down the center is nice and clean. That's what, if you haven't noticed, so aprons, they're narrow through the top and they get wider as you go to the bottom because that's where all the junk ends up outside the button area. Yes. So they're double-breasted, so you could go to a table if you needed to address a concern and you had a nice clean chef coat on, or at least mostly.
So what I'm hearing you say is chances are I don't really need that at the house. If all I'm doing is just cooking at the house, right?
So I like to have one on because I don't like an apron around my neck. So I can wear this over my nice clothes. You don't have to have a double-breasted one. But having a chef coat is really nice because you can, again, have a nice something to cover up your coat or your nice shirt if you have a nice shirt. Chefs aren't allowed to have nice things because we get everything dirty. That's where we're chef coats. And then what I do is I tie the apron. If it's an apron that has the neck strap, I fold it in half and then tie it around my waist. And that way I I don't get stuff on my pants. But I don't like to have an apron on my neck. It bothers me to have that pulling down. I'm very kind of, I don't know. It's weird for me. I don't like it at all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And it looks like we got Jeff on the line. And I think I unmuted the lines over there. Double check for me. Okay, thanks. Guten Tag. Guten Tag, Herr Wetzel. Herr Wetzel, are you there? Kannst du mich hören? Uh-oh, yeah, I think you might have to deselect the select up there. My bad. I think that puts it just in your earphones. I'm not smart enough to figure that out because I'm not in that room. Jeff, hold on, brother. I know you're there. Oh, are you there? See, I can't hear him.
Give me just a moment, Chef.
No,
my apologies.
No, you're okay. Look, so I should have not touched the damn buttons. Again, Chef Patrick, note to self, you're not allowed in the control room ever again. Don't touch anything without asking first. And that is why I'm a chef. Someone asked me what tune he's going to call back. Try again, Jeff. And it may have been on his end. I'm not sure. Someone asked me today there was basically a math problem that involved if you did this many dishes in this many days, and then on average in 12 weeks, in 20 weeks, how many dishes would you have cooked? Well, I don't know. Let's do the math. So it took me like 5 minutes to figure out the answer was 50. And it was basically 2.5 times whatever the daily average was. So, all right, well, he's going to call me back in a minute. So,
he's back.
Okay, cool.
And just FYI, you didn't mess anything up. It was
okay.
definitely on his end, so we should be okay.
Brother Wetzel, are you there? Oh, hey, Jeff, make sure your mic's not muted, brother.
My mic?
No, the other Jeff Wetzel. Jeffrey. Nope. And it could be on his end because I'll have to tell you there's really bad reception up there. And they had tornado warnings yesterday, so some of the towers might be down up in northwest Arkansas. And that was another excuse for me.
We're just going to restart it, Jeff.
That's fine. Yeah, no worries. All right, hey, Jeff, call back in a minute, okay? So, yeah, I was going to do the one. I thought about the show yesterday, and I did the morning show on Try This Dish Radio with Sean Young. And it was a great show. It was really fun. And then I'd actually texted Laura Geen, who owns Ramo de Olivo and does the Wine Down Wednesday show with me. I said, hey, I'm not feeling really well. I'm having a hard time breathing. Would you mind putting the show off? And they had these huge a lot of tornado warnings in the area. So she was happy just to hide out in the house and not have to call in. I was fine with that. But look at this. What do I have? What do I have here? Let's see. So Sean, Sean Sheeler. So the chef is saying the only buttons he should touch are the ones in the kitchen. Yeah, or on my jacket, actually on my chef coat. You know what? That was a good point. Sean Sheeler says, I hope that employee remembers that as he goes through his career. And that's, yeah. Sean, that was one of the most difficult decisions I ever had to make in my life was whether or not to let that employee go. And the decision not to paid off absolutely for him and for me. He was a loyal employee for many years. Matter of fact, he still works at that restaurant. He's the executive sous chef and mostly runs the kitchen. He does all the hard work, and the exec chef takes the credit. So, but it is a really difficult thing to have patience with someone. With anyone, especially family members. Ask my kids. Oh, pardon me. One of the things Jeff and I were going to talk about was farmers markets right now. And, they don't sell bacon at farmers markets, but I wish they did because, I like bacon. Actually, there are a couple places that sell pork belly. Oh, by the way, Summy Schick, I owe you.
Hey, Chef.
Yeah. Hey, are you there, Jeff?
It's working now.
Oh, there. Okay.
You can call in.
Okay, cool. All right, Jeff, if you can hear me, call in. I'm going to text you real quick. I will let him know. Anyway, so let me see here. Sir, call in, sir. Phones are up. Thank you, Ron. Yeah. So, oh, there he is. That's my electricity when I don't pay my bill. All right, let's see here. Jeffrey, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah, that little pause. Everybody in the control room still, they're like, damn it. They said it. They're all sweating over there. I'm in here thinking, okay, a third time's not a charm. But what's up, brother?
Oh, just living the dream, man.
You know, sometimes I think we need a better dream, Jeff.
Sometimes it feels like a nightmare, but I'm going to call it a dream anyways.
You know, I don't know if mine feels like a nightmare, but it feels like, I feel like Bill Murray and What About Bob, you know? Have you ever seen the show Russian Doll on Netflix? Where this woman dies over and over and over, and she's trying to figure out what she dies like. I think the longest she lives is like 2 days. It's her birthday. The first time she dies, she falls in like what are those things? The delivery entrances that go underground in New York, where they got the iron doors flipped up. She falls in one of those, and then every day it's something different, right? And so it's just like over and over. And I feel like that some days is like, am I really? Is this not this? Is this not the same as yesterday or last week on Tuesday or the prior week on Tuesday or 4 years ago on Tuesday in the second week of February? I mean, does it ever feel like you're just the hamster on the wheel?
Yep.
I'm not complaining, dude. Life
Sometimes it feels very Groundhog Day, you know? Speaking of Bill Murray, you know?
I love that movie, actually. One of my all-time favorites. I forgot what he says to when they go into the movie theater, and he's like, no, call me whatever. I forgot what it's called, but it's pretty damn funny. So what's new, brother? What's going on? What's going on in the world of Northwest Arkansas besides the warnings yesterday?
Yeah. The weather has been pretty crazy here. The rain is absolutely just it's flooding in a lot of places up here. Oklahoma, Missouri. Now, fortunately, I live in the mountains, so water runs downhill, so I don't have a whole lot of problem with it. But like I was supposed to fish a catfish tournament on the 7th. Arkansas River is, out of control right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did I lose you again? Are you there, Jeff? Jeff! Another hazard of living in Northwest Arkansas, as beautiful as it is, you can't hear. Not to mention you have AT&T like I do, don't you? Jeffrey, I might have lost him.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like the line dropped.
Damn, dude.
This is great radio. I love it.
Hey, look, that's why we do it live, because you can't, here's the cool thing. You can't script screw-ups. you can.
Nor would you want to.
Yeah. So anyway, it is the time for farmers markets up there. One of the things I want to talk to him about, and he and I are a little disenfranchised with some of the farmers markets lately. So we're going to talk about that. I need to find. Is there a good one here, Jeff, in Dallas-Fort Worth?
You know, there used to be it's one thing when it first starts, everybody's real gung-ho about it. There's all kinds of great vendors and everything. And then as time goes on, people start to fade away. And it just sort of becomes, oh, yeah, hey, remember back in the day?
So I spoke last week briefly. I spoke to the young man who founded the Hay Straws Company. And there's the most amazing, obviously, it's San Francisco. So, they're in the just outside of the produce, growing epicenter of the world, basically. And at the Embarcadero, which is the old docks down there, at the I think it was the old shipyards. Anyway, they have this most amazing farmers market I've ever been to. I mean, they had things like fresh turmeric, right? Basically, it looks like a little mini pink carrot, a little orange carrot, tiny little thing. Got a little brown skin on there that you shave off. They had, what was this thing called? It was something I heard of before, but I didn't know what it was. But it's got this shell on it that looks like a longhorn steer. The whole thing looks like, if you're looking at the front, like the UT logo without the entire, the skull of the face of the skull of the longhorn. It's got that. It's what it looks like. And you break it open and basically it has this, what is that called? Anyway, it had all these weird things I'd never seen before. 15 types of kale, which that's good or bad or ugly, I don't know. But it was one of the most amazing experiences. And there's a market in Oakland, which who the hell wants to go to Oakland, California? Honestly, did you know that they don't prosecute people breaking into cars there anymore? If somebody breaks into your car, breaks the window, steals your stuff, they don't even investigate, which is really kind of sad. But Oakland is actually very interesting culinarily and culturally. It's a very interesting place. And they have, I need to find out the name of that market again. It had the largest produce section of any market I'd ever seen. It had at least 800, if not more, produce, individual SKUs, individual barcodes for produce. It was unbelievable. They had, I don't know, 40 or, probably 25 or 30 types of apples. They had, at least 30 different, 25 minimum different citrus products or, items. It was really unbelievable. We were there at the perfect time of year. It was early winter, and it was fantastic. It was, all right, I got to look up the name real quick. I have to look up the name. And so I did the best farmers markets in DFW. Yeah, it's from 2016, 2018, and 2019. There we go. Edible Dallas and Fort Worth. We're going to look at that when it comes up. But this market, the best market in Oakland, California. Okay. In Oakland. All right. It was fantastic. It was unbelievable. I learned so much about... it wasn't Farmer Joe's. It wasn't Whole Foods. It wasn't Trader Preserve. Maybe Nature's Best. It was tremendously... It was just huge. And, man, they had so much stuff. I'd never seen that many apples, literally that many variety of apples ever, until the Whole Foods in Houston opened up. And they had, at one time, I think 23 or 27 varieties of apples. They have, you like apples?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
How you like them apples? What's your favorite apple?
The crunchy kind?
Good. Yeah, the one with the core in the middle?
No, the kind when you bite into it, it crunches, and then it has all this juice that runs down the apple and down the side of your
chin,
face.
down your chin. Yeah. So
I don't know what they're called, but I mean, I don't like soft apples. To me, it seems like those shouldn't really be called apples. They should be called like maybe a pear that looks like an apple.
The mealy ones like that are typically pretty good for cooking, right? They don't break down as much. There's not as much moisture in them. But there's an apple called the Jonathan apple, which nobody really knows because it's such a short-lived season. And all right, I don't know if Jeff's going to call back or not, so I'm going to fill some time. But the Jonathan apple, I've had them. They come from New York, and they're really kind of difficult to find. But it's people heard of Jonah Gold's. It's a Golden Delicious with a Jonathan apple. It's crossbred. They have it's another word. Another word is the Paradise apple. They come from the Woodstock area of upstate New York and have a very, very short picking season. But it's not super sweet like a Gala or a Fuji apple. But it's got a sweet flavor like that with a hint of acid, kind of like a Granny Smith has. And as a smooth skin, they tend to they rot really quickly. And apples are my favorite fruit, so y'all are gonna have to just listen to apples for a minute. But okay, my mouth is watering. When I was growing up, we had apple trees and my uncle had built a place that when he passed, it was my father's uncle rather, and he bought the homestead. And because the family couldn't live away from each other, we all had to live on the same road within a mile stretch of each other. And God forbid we lived 2 miles away on another road because Dad couldn't handle that. Mama's boy. Just joking. Love you, Dad. So we had 6 apple trees. There was a crab apple tree. There was a Roma Smith apple tree. There was a Granny Smith apple tree, it wasn't really Granny Smith, though. It was some crossbreed. And then there was 2 Golden Delicious apple trees, and there was a Jonathan apple tree. And so I would spend a lot of my like early, late spring, early summers, and then into the fall, especially though. The crab apples come in early, and they're not good for eating. You can cook them down and blah, 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 blah. What we do those is you pick a really kind of a wispy, one your parents would call a switch. Pick a branch off the tree, preferably not the apple tree, so you don't, so you get more fruit. But and then you put that crab apple on, because crab apples are really, really hard. You stick it on the end of there, and you wait, and you just whip that thing. We called it hucking apples, and we may or may have not gotten into trouble because we lived on a country road with very little traffic coming. You could see it coming from a long way. So we'd throw it as high as we could and try and time it to come down on the road near the car. And we only ever hit one car, and it was a big man got out of that car, and he chased me up to I never knew big man could move that fast. And he was a big man. I swear that guy must have been a sprinter in high school, because he was about 50 years old, 250, maybe 5'10". Man, he was quick.
Did he get away?
Yeah, but he was yelling through the screen door, and he was like, "Are your parents home? You little..." I was like, "Oh, yeah, hey, kids, don't do that," right? But yeah, so that was what we did. And we'd, there was a crow up in the tree, or, we'd hucking apples, what we call it. I don't know if there's a proper term for it, but whipping apples off the end of a good switch was fun. And especially if you could hit something with it, preferably a crow, because they're obnoxious and they make a lot of noise. And so we do that. But when the Jonathan apples came in for their very short season, the Golden Delicious, they lasted quite a while, and they were really crisp when the season first started, but not sweet enough. You had to let them kind of ripen on the tree, and then they get really good. And the Romas are good. They're kind of the same. They're consistent throughout the whole season. They have kind of the same. Once they grow to the right size, then they're my mouth is smacking over here. I really need an apple. But yeah, so the Romas are pretty much the same crispness until right at the end of the season, because they last a long time in a fridge or even on the counter. They're probably the best as far as just everyday apples and keeping them on the counter. So, and Granny Smith, who doesn't like your Granny Smith, but again, they get mealy towards, they have a shorter picking period as well. Those Jonathans have the most unique flavor, and I think it's the most balanced acid to sweetness. They're fantastic. And I don't know. I don't know if I would sit in that damn tree, and it had a nook, right? It went up, and at about 15 feet off the ground on the left hand side, there was one big branch, and then another branch that went off. They kind of went right and left at the same level, but on the right side, it didn't matter whatever side you were looking from, but on the opposite side, there was one large branch which counterbalanced those, and it was perfect for like laying on the branch and putting your legs around the tree on the other two branches to kind of hold yourself there. And that branch that I'd lay on was probably 8 to 10 inches across. And as a kid, I was a little kid. I mean, we moved out of that house. My dad died at 6. I was 8. So I'd wrap my legs around that tree and just put them on the other branches, and I'd lay back, and I swear, I would eat 4, 5, 6 apples a day. Could have been why I was so skinny. That's a lot of fiber for a little boy. And I was a little boy. I was tiny. Matter of fact, I was the smallest kid in my class till I was probably in 6th or 7th grade. I was so skinny. Talk about knock-kneed. When I ran fast, the inside of my knees would knock together. They'd bruise, and if I ran fast enough, it'd put me off balance. They'd knock together, and I'd fall down. That's how you're
no
not
way.
Jeff. I swear to God,
you're making that up.
I swear to God, no. You know what? I was gonna say I bring in a picture, but almost every photo I own burned up in a fire a couple of years ago. But I will bring in. I'm sure I have a couple that have survived, and I will show you a picture. I was skinny. I looked. Man, we moved to Arizona when right before 4th grade. Right after 4th grade. And I didn't know we were moving. We were going on vacation, but we got there, and it was like, dude, you ever eat? I did nothing but eat, right? Maybe I had a tapeworm. I don't know. But I had rheumatic fever as a kid, which I fully recovered from, which is rare because it usually does pretty serious heart damage. And anyway, so I survived, and I grew, and I started wrestling in 2nd grade. My brother said, hey, you need to wrestle, because he was, I don't know, school by a state champion or some stupid thing like that, whatever. And so I started wrestling, and I didn't win a single match until I was, I think, in 6th grade when we moved to Arizona, 6th or 7th. And you know what happened? This is the power of love, right? Actually, it wasn't love. But the first time I wrestled that I had a fan, there was a girl in the crowd that said, "Go, Patrick, go!" And I was like, woohoo! And you know what? For 4 years, I only lost one match, actually.
All because of a girl.
Maybe
See
2.
what happens.
No. That year I won one match, actually. Only one. It was that one, and then the next year I only lost 2, and the next year I didn't lose any others except for outside of our regular high school matches. I didn't lose any. There, so anyway.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, it doesn't pay the bills. You can't eat medals. I've tried. They don't taste good, and they don't prepare you for life. Although I have to tell you, I've told this story before. Wrestling prepared me for a career in the culinary world. Why? Because it's the hardest damn thing I've ever done in my life. Starving yourself, starving yourself, not having any water for days, just ice chips. You could have half a cup of ice chips at night, dropping away. I lost 7 pounds. I got the ultimate. You know what? Damn, I got a new diet plan right here, starting here today. Hey, Chef Patrick Mosher here with the newest deal of the century. Yes, we're going to call it the Wrestler's Diet. The Wrestler's Diet. Lose weight overnight? Nah, why wait so long? You can lose 7 pounds in 3 hours. 7 pounds in 3 hours. I guarantee it. You follow the plan. We got a coach right there to run you around the wrestling room. Right there, 98 degrees. Move it, move it, move it. Yeah, I'm serious. I lost 7 pounds in 3 hours. 7 pounds in 3 hours. Water weight only.
That really is quite amazing. I mean, that seems like something that cannot be done.
It's stupid. All right, so, you know what? Who cares about food? I'm the Food Biz Pro. We're going to talk a little life lesson here. If you wrestle, if you have children that wrestle, if you're a young person that wants to wrestle, don't ever, ever, ever cut weight. Wrestle at your own weight and enjoy life. Because I'm telling you, I'd probably be 4 inches taller if I didn't do this in high school. If I'd had proper nutrition, and that's why I'm going to talk about proper nutrition, proper hydration. There was a time we had my weight class had a bye, and we were getting ready to go to state, so we had to do the best we could, and we had to win the next 2 matches against these high school teams we were going against. And so this is our biggest rival. Gotta talk about who. Anyway, my coach comes to me and says, "Hey, we have a bye in your weight class, so we're going to move the JV wrestler up, but he can't beat the guy in the next weight class down, and he can't cut the weight. So could you cut weight? It's only 7 pounds between now and 6 o'clock. This is 1:15 after lunch, and I hadn't eaten lunch because I was being a good boy. I didn't want to gain any weight, and I was already pretty lean. I was at like 3.5% body fat in high school. No, seriously, it was weird, but So in the next 3.5 hours, I literally dropped 7 pounds. I was 4 ounces under when I weighed in. And so the way we did that is they put me in a wrestling. And this is the crash diet of all crash diets. I don't recommend it. I'm not advocating it. I'm just telling you how I did it. So the wrestling room has a thermometer that's separate from all the other rooms in the school. It's usually right next to the basketball court. It's kind of like a locker room that's not a locker room. It's just covered in mats and the pegboards on the side of the wall. And so they cranked it up to like 98 degrees, and I put on my high school sweats, right, with a Chandler High School logo on there that had a hoodie. And then I put plastics over the top of that. You ever seen those? The plastics from Fat Man suit, right, from the 80s? People wore that to kind of, it's like a sauna of your own. You go for a run and you sweat your butt off. So the sweats underneath were to absorb the water that's coming out of my body, the sweat. Then you put the sweats on over that. I mean, the plastics, right? And then you put on another set of sweats over the top of that. Yeah, stupid, I know. So, but then they crank up the heat and you run until you break a sweat. And then you do this thing called spin drills. And spin drills are where one guy gets on all hands and knees, right? And you put your chest on their back as if in a starting position, but you can't use your hands. And you spin one direction just using your feet. It's just good practice, right, for spinning around a wrestler really quickly. And then you spin the other direction every time the coach blows the whistle. And I'm telling you, after 1 minute of doing that, your heart rate's about 220. You're at your 100% VO2 max right there, I'm telling you. If you don't know what that means, look it up. VO2 max. It's a measure of how efficiently your body uses oxygen and the tolerance you can take before going into oxygen deficit, which is called anaerobic, right? Yep. So anyway, so I'm sweating my butt off. And if that's not enough, right, they didn't want me to get too tired. So then you lay down about 6 feet from the end, one edge of the wrestling mat. Right at the edge, the side edge you lay at, and then you lay 6 feet from the top edge. And then what they do is they roll you up inside that mat until the mat is about a foot thick all the way around you. and you can kind of see you hope you end up on your stomach and not on your back, right? So you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you tip your head, you can tell that there's light there. You're not in hell, and you're not dead. And then they set somebody at the end of the mat to talk to you to make sure you don't pass out. So you talk, and they keep you talking the whole time because they've had people. As a matter of fact, a wrestler died about 5 or 6 years ago in Arizona, maybe 10 years ago, and they've stopped that practice openly.
Golly, this is an amazing story. This is amazing,
dude. It's so you treat your body so poorly as a wrestler. So anyway, well, I'm going to get back to the story. We have 45 seconds left, but you got to wait for the end. Let's just say I was successful. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But we'll talk about, because it's not done. I mean, the crazy things you do nutritionally to be an athlete sometimes are not worth it. And there's a little bit I'm paying for today. Fortunately, I was a very good eater. I've always stayed active. So we got about 20 seconds left. Anyway, well, that was the super salad course. I'm not sure there's any super salad in the second course today, but come back for the entree. Coming up next, the heart of the matter, the meat of the meal. More stories about wrestling and nutrition, and who knows what's up next. Maybe Jeff McCollum with a fishing report. Damn it, pick up the phone.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
President Trump at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs and is about to deliver remarks and handshakes to newly minted officers at the U.S. Air Force Academy commencement. He's also expected to discuss his administration's efforts to boost defense spending and address threats from Iran. The White House says this will mark the president's first time addressing Air Force Academy graduates. Before he left for Colorado, Mr. Trump told reporters American sanctions are having an impact on Iran, just like China.
Iran has become a very weakened nation, and Iran wants to make a deal also.
The president says that if Iran wants to talk, he's available. Officials in Arkansas say a weakened levee is holding on after workers scramble to shore it up ahead of Wednesday's downpours. The levee is in rural Crawford County on the western edge of the state, and it's affected by the Arkansas River flooding that is devastating parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma. Also at townhall.com, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces an unprecedented snap election campaign after failing to form a governing coalition and instead dissolving parliament. Netanyahu, speaking to reporters, says that the dissolution won't further postpone the U.S. peace plan rollout.
We're going to continue working together. We had a great, productive meeting, which reaffirms that the alliance between the United States and America has never been stronger, and it's going to get even stronger.
A new election date set for September 17th. New Hampshire, the latest state to repeal the death penalty, as the state Senate had enough votes to override Governor Chris Sununu's veto. That repeal will take effect immediately. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dr. Ken Brown here, host of Gut Check Project with my co-host Eric Rieger. I've seen in my practice that Atrantil is a whole lot more than just a bloating product.
Yes, it does a whole lot more than just fix bloating because of the polyphenols that you find in Atrantil.
What are some of the things that these polyphenols do, Eric?
These polyphenols can help you have more energy, and polyphenols are great for athletes.
It sounds like it's going to help a whole lot more people than just bloating. Go to lovemytummy.com/Spoony.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, thrive.com.
So what'd you say, Jeff? You gonna race around for the pooper? I'm just joking. Yeah, no, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, Chef Jeff's gonna try and call in one more time in a few minutes. He should be able to get through this time. And if not, well, he'll discuss it with me off the air, I'm sure. Gotta love technology. Oh yeah. So we have Sean Sheeler I was discussing my wrestling days. I'm gonna finish my story in just a minute, but Sean Sheeler saying, better known as Whiskey Six, Coach Carlson. Yes, Coach Carlson was our wrestling coach. We had a couple of wrestling coaches. We had another wrestling coach in junior high school at Chandler Junior High. I know you went to the other school there, Sean, but Molchek, Mr. Molchek, that guy, man, I hated that guy. He made us run with it. He was like there was Coach Carlson. Who was the other one with the guy with the mustache? He used to make us run. He was a a long distance runner. He ran a lot of marathons. But anyway, so above and beyond my weight loss story here, my having to cut weight during Christmas vacation, we had to go in for workouts and the daily run. What was his name? I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway. I digress. I need to finish the story. So yeah, they roll you up inside the mat. So I'm 6 feet from the end of this mat, and they're talking to me to make sure I don't pass out. I'm in there for like 40 minutes. This has now been almost maybe an hour and a half, about a 90-minute workout. You have to think, I have to wrestle at 6:30. And I was already pretty lean, 4.5%, 5% body fat, maybe 4% at that point. And I was already having to cut weight to be at my current weight. I had to lose 7 pounds in basically three and a half active hours because we had a bus ride to the school, across town. And anyway, so I come out of there, and the next thing you do is, you get out and you shower. So I showered and dry off as best you can. Then you put on clean sweats, plastics over the top, and another set of sweats over the top of that. All right, so you basically go for a run before you get on the bus to get your sweat rolling again. Yep, get that metabolism up, cut some weight, sweat your butt off. And what do? They hand you some gum. Some guys dipped, chewed, whatever you want to call it. I didn't do chewing tobacco. So, not at that age. I was like 6th grade. I tried it one time. I puked. Never again. Nasty. Of course, it was Red Man, too, which is, anyway, I can't even smell that stuff nowadays. Never since that day. Kind of like Jack Daniels. It wasn't 6th grade when that happened. All right. So we're on the bus, and what you do then is you chew the gum and spit in a cup. So you're basically trying to take every drop of water out of your body to lose enough weight to make the weight class. So we arrive at the school. What do I do when we get to school? No, I don't go in and eat and have a little bit of Gatorade like everybody else does. I go to the track and run. So I ran 2 miles, moderate pace, and about the last minute before weigh-in, because it's usually about an hour before weigh-in after you arrived at school. Then they bring you in. You take everything off, dry off as best you can. You get every drop of water off, stripped down, buck naked, no underwear, sir, not even a jock strap. Nope, buck naked for the whole world because every wrestler's there in the same room. And yeah, I know. Bad enough it's a locker room. You got to weigh in in front of a bunch of guys, and then everybody's anxious to see if you make weight or not. I don't know why. It's not like we're a bunch of women, saying, "Oh, you're too heavy," to each other. Sorry, did I say that out loud? I apologize. Okay. Anyway, so I make weight by 4 ounces. And the first thing you want to do is eat and drink. But what that really does is doesn't work. It makes you really sick. So you don't do anything for a little while. You take one little sip of Gatorade, right? And then you maybe have a bite of a Snickers bar, a little tiny bite, and then a little sip of Gatorade. And if you're lucky, you might eat the old small Snickers bar, not the big 2-in-1 Snickers bars they make now. And it wasn't the single big one that they made in the 90s and 2000s. This was the 80s, early 80s. So you ate one small regular size Snickers bar over 30 or 40 minutes, however long it was for the match to start. And you sipped some Gatorade and some water, and then you wrestled, and you hope for the best. You hope that your body had enough time to recover. Fortunately, I did well. I won the match, but at that point, I decided I would never cut weight again, at least not drastically. If I wanted to wrestle at a weight that was within a couple of pounds of my natural body weight. So, and I have to tell you, if I had not had a good nutritional foundation as a child, and not taking care of myself physically through high school and thereafter, other than those few years where I really severely cut weight and depleted my body of all sorts of nutrients and necessary, molecules, whatever, just items to make your body be healthy, then I probably would be a lot taller today. I almost guarantee it. But I did good. I did well. It was really hard on me. I have some shoulder problems now. Not right now, and not today. Hey, look at that! Look at that! No cough and no shoulder popping out of place when I move it right and left. But wrestling was so physically and mentally difficult and so taxing that it really prepared me for a life in the culinary industry. When I first started in restaurants, I did my first opening that work, and I literally, I think the first set of days we opened. Oh, hey, Chuck. It's my cousin Chuck. How you doing? It's my second cousin, actually, but Chuck Aiken, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, Sean. So Sean says, do you remember Cisco? It's actually Sisto Rosales. Yeah, Sisto's still at the high school there, by the way. And I don't know what he does actively. I know he was... when I was at the reunion, I had not been to a single reunion until my 30th class reunion. And Sister Rosales, he was a security guard at the school. He used to ride around on a cruiser. He had kind of a huffy cruiser, beach cruiser. And he was one big man. We used to have a talent show every year, and one year the seniors, I think I was a junior, the seniors used Sisto as one of those Vegematics. It slices, it dices, but wait, there's more. It rips phone books. So, but he did the Vegematic where he took a carrot and spit it out on the ground. Sisto's a big boy. He's a big barrel-chested man who was a badass wrestler for Chandler High School. And just an overall great athlete, gentle giant, by the way. A big influence in my level of patience in life, and just a good-hearted, very happy human being, always willing to help rather than accuse. And but anyway, and at the end, this man could literally take a quarter and bend it in half in his jaw. A quarter. Man, I'm afraid to open a beer bottle with my teeth, and that guy bent a quarter. But he could literally rip a phone book in half. But he was the nicest man on campus, I think, ever. And he's still there. Sisto's got to be I'm 51. He's got to be in his early 60s, about 8 years older than us, maybe 10 years older. But what a great guy. It was awesome. And, Rack Attack Barbecue, that would be Brandon Anderson. Yeah, ready to be on again? Yeah, next week? Yes, you can come back next week. Sorry, he was going to come in on Tuesday. I just told him, sorry, man, I'm not up to it. I couldn't do a show. So, and we're ready to talk some recipes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Coach Carlson, man. That Coach Carlson was he was one tough man, but he was fair. He knew what he was talking about. And, yep, Sean says he was a badass. He ripped phone books. Sisto Rosales is his name. Look him up. As a matter of fact, he does a lot of the tweets for Chandler High School as far as the athletics go, and it's a very, it's a cool town to grow up in. You know what? This is my show. I was on a show with Sean. It was the what was it? Off Track. They do a show on Sunday nights. Some of our listeners on the other platform and also listen over here. They do a show. It's very fun, actually, and I was the guest one night. And Sean and I got to talk about Chandler, Arizona. But it was a cool place to grow up, especially in the 80s and late 70s. You could still ride your bicycle everywhere, even at night, and, nothing would happen, even in the baddest part of town. It was a very small town then. For a town that's the tremendous growth they've seen there. I don't even know what the population of Chandler is. I'm going to look it up, though. Man, we got to come a long way from Jonathan Apples at the beginning of this. But Chandler, Arizona, population now is population. Come on, man. I don't see the population. All right, going to have to look up population. Jeez, gives you everything about the damn town, but population. Really? All right, 253,000 in 2017. This was a town of literally 30 or 40,000 people when I moved there in 1979, 80. I swear. 253,000 people now. That's crazy. So when we were there was one high school and two junior high schools. And now I know there's a couple of different high schools, and I don't know how many junior high schools, but, it was always a powerhouse in sports. We had a guy named Sanjay Beach. No, I didn't say the other word, Sanjay Beach. Sanjay Beach is quite possibly one of the greatest athletes to ever come out of Chandler. Sanjay Beach was a football player. He's a track runner. He held, 100 and 200 meter records for a while. He was actually, believe it or not, he was the first person in the NFL to catch a pass in the first professional game that Brett Favre ever played in. First man to catch a pass, Sanjay Beach. Now he's a very successful financial advisor because that's what them athletes do. They're not stupid, man. They take that fame, but he's a really smart young man. He's a couple of years older than I am. But I remember in high school, they'd say, and there's Sanjay Beach going for the touch. They had the announcer and everybody's the opposing team's family would all be like, oh, what did they call him? Sanjay, Sanjay, last name Beach, Beach. 2 words, Sanjay Beach. Yes. And no, he was not a SOB. Really nice guy. Another cool character. Then there was James and Manny Torres. Manuel Torres, state record holder for the mile and the cross-country record as well. That stood for a lot of years. Might still be there. Manny was a badass. His brother his brother was in my grade. Manny was a year older. It might have been the other way around. I don't remember their names. But Torres boys, they were great runners. My wrestling coach, by the way, used to kick me out of football practice. Boom! And said, Patrick, you need to go run the cross-country meet and come back to practice. So the bus is going to come by and pick you up. So a van would come by and pick me up from football practice because I needed to stay in shape, apparently, in the summertime. And so they pick me up, take me over. I'd run the cross-country meet and usually place 4th or 5th or 2nd sometimes. And then they'd bring me back and I'd have to finish practice because it was only a mile away to the golf course where we ran. So you start out practice, you do an hour and a half, the first hour and a half practice. Then you go run a 2.3 mile course. They take you back to practice. Dude, all my coaches were sadists. But I tell you, it makes this job easy. It makes my love of the culinary life and all the hardships that come with it easy. As a matter of fact, hey, at the bottom of the hour, make sure that I test the phones because I have the other caller calling in from Atlanta, and I want to make sure that it's not on our end. So, but anyway, athletics. Let's see. Chandler High School won my junior year. They won the boys state basketball championship against who did they play? Anybody remember? South High School. Well, we played. The final game was not outside. They played inside. South High School wasn't against South High School. They played. I don't know, the Aztecs, I think. Now that's the team. That's the mascot. That's not the school. Anyway, but I believe the year after I left. So I left my senior year. I think the senior year they took state in wrestling. They've won a couple other, but then they had a long dry spell, right? So in the early 2000s, late 90s, another high school opened up. Yes, this was the brand new richest school in the state of Arizona. Yep, and they had lots of sponsors like Under Armour for uniforms. Chandler High School, on the other hand, was the oldest still functioning high school in the state, built in like 1908 or 1918. As a matter of fact, the original high school still was a row of classrooms that was still in use. And a couple of years ago, Chandler High School came back and actually won the state championship in football. And then 2 years later, won it again, which I think was last year or the year before. So long history of athletics in the state of Arizona. They got 1 million banners going around the town. And it was a small podunk cow town when I moved there. When I moved to Arizona, there were many of the main arteries now. There are 6 lanes, were two-way dirt roads. Outside of that 40-block area, 20 by 20, if even that big, pretty much everything was dirt. Surrounding that downtown central area were alfalfa fields and cotton fields, and nothing else for as far as the eye could see until you got to the mountains in the west, where you could see the beautiful sunset on the other side of I-10 in Phoenix. Anyway, it's become quite a town. It was a great place to grow up. Wonderful people there. Lots of friends, lots of support. And I have to tell you, y'all need to apologize for abusing me when I was a kid. Y'all need to say you're sorry for making me starve myself when I was in high school. I'll tell you what, really, that is the hardest thing that a young person should have to ever go through, is to not eat a meal. Part of the reason that I think I have such a passion for food and feeding others is that there was Richard Brandt. Chandler has about half the population of Wyoming. Why, yes, they do. Which, interestingly enough, they used to have less than a fifth of, so they had about a tenth of the population of Wyoming when I lived there, when I first moved there. But I think one of the hardest things that a person can do for themselves, especially a young person, one of the most difficult things and one of the most unreasonable things I think anyone should expect is to starve themselves. And I did it willingly and purposely. So I'm just telling you, if you're a college athlete, high school athlete, I know there are certain things, certain milestones you need to meet, certain expectations from your team, your coaches. But think about the health effect on your body. Dehydrating my body like that through high school, I'm sure put a ton of stress on my heart. I'm very fortunate. I love cardio workouts. I love cycling. I love running. I wish I was lighter, because running is a lot easier when I'm lighter. But I have to tell you, if it had not been for that, I probably would not be in very good shape. I really wouldn't. And I was always very aware of what I put in my body, from a food perspective. Okay, well, on occasion I drink too much. Matter of fact, tomorrow is Beer for Breakfast Friday. And if you don't like politics and you don't want to go to some libertarian conservative station, which we have a channel right over there, I can see, Matt's not there anymore, but I can see right through the glass to the other studio. We have a channel called the Mojo 50. Mojo 50. That's Mojo 50. 50. You can go on Facebook, Mojo 50. Actually, it'll be the first hour. It should be on Facebook. But if it's not, just tune in to, go to mojo.com, mojo50.com, and we do a Beer for Breakfast Friday segment where it may be just a boozy brunch. I'm not sure if we're going to be eating beer, bourbon, hot toddies if my cough is back, but typically we choose a couple beers to have, and we give the audience a break from politics for the week. We have some fun. The audience on occasion, those that work from home or those that may be unemployable, drink with us. So it's fun. Beer for Breakfast Friday. That is tomorrow at... typically it's 11:30 Central Time. And again, that's mojo50.com. You can go to the Mojo50 Facebook page. If you don't know where to go, just email me at chefpatrick@spoony.com, and I'll tell you where to go. I mean, where to find the channel, not where to go. So back to apples. That was a long way to get around to eating apples, right? But I tell you, I spent a lot of summer times eating apples in those trees. And when we moved into that house when I was about 5 years old. We had left. We had this big kind of Victorian style home that was the familial home until my father wanted to move to the family. And I think at that time my father already knew he was ill because he died. Wasn't quite 7. I was like 6.5. So, or a couple months for my 7th birthday. But there was these huge ferns that grew beneath the trees. and they were tall. They were really, I mean, for me at that age, they seemed huge. I mean, they seemed like they were 4 feet tall, but these ferns were at least 3 feet tall. They had a very big, thick stem, and stalk. And basically, my cousin Kevin, who was 2 years older, lived across the street. We could crawl under there. We would make tunnels through these ferns. And I remember in the fall, when some of the apples would fall off the tree, or it started to get cold, and we'd have eaten hundreds of apples by then, and just throw the cores on the ground. But you know that kind of that cidery smell, like when the days were warm and the evenings were cool. In the daytime, the ground would be cool to the touch when you crawled through there, but you could smell, and it's like fermenting apple, just slightly. It smelled like you would crawl around and it smelled like cider. And so I smell apple cider or warm apple juice, anything like that, and it just reminds me of that time of year in that house, in that apple orchard, which my uncle had planted many years before I was born, and it's fantastic. I need to find out. My sister doesn't remember. My sister Karen, who's sometimes on the show, an amazing life coach. You can find her rubyredroad.com. She and her husband Kevin Carey. She doesn't remember. Well, she never lived in that home, but my brother bought the home from my mother after my father passed, and we moved into a house in town. I need to find out if the trees are still there, because if they are, I need him to pick some apples for me this fall and send them to me. Or when I travel back east this fall, then I'll bring some with me. And hey, don't forget, look, if you like the show, listen and invite your friends. Who can use a few more followers on Facebook. And believe it or not, I'm actually going to start using Instagram. I have about 500 photos from the food show in Chicago that I'm going to start sharing. I have lots of fun stuff. There's this amazing company, the Kanshang Knife Company. It's CANGSHAN. Don't ask. I need to give them, I'm telling them, I'm really going to tell them they need to change the name for Americans, because the Kanshang is just not something. We're Kanshan, baby. Just like Yan can cook with Kanshan knives. All right. So, but they were amazing. If you didn't see the Facebook video, I don't know if it's on my page, Spoony, or Facebook, the Food Biz Pro, but it was a really fun interview with Henry Liu. He designed those knives, and I'm waiting for my set. I actually got an email from them saying, thank you for the interview. How can we collaborate? And I said, as promised, would you please send me my set of knives so I can start doing some demos for you on YouTube and Facebook Live? Above and beyond that, Richard Brand goes, I have an Instagram. I have an Instagram account. Do you mean I may actually have to use it? No, you don't have to use it. Follow me and then don't use it again. Just look at the pictures. Like, you'd have to use it. Well, you'd have to use it to access Instagram and then like my posts. But you know what? I think I'm going to start doing some stuff on apples. I love apples so much. Maybe each week I'll pick a new, this fall, Central Market literally has 30 to 50 varietals of apples every fall. And, the phones must not be working, because I see Ron on the pat line over there. Hey, yeah, the pat line, not the bat line. It's the pat line, right? And no, he's not calling me. He's calling tech support. I know, I'm just giving you a hard time, Ron. But I'm going to start doing apples. I'm going to bring in a variety, something I've even never tried, my favorites, because I'll tell you, I love me some apples, and I'll talk about what each type is best for. Because Central Market. If you don't have a Central Market in your state, I'm sorry. That means you don't live in Texas, and it also means you don't have a Central Market. But Central Market started by the HEB company. Yes, that's Herbert E. Butts. Poor man. I'll tell you what, though. People used to laugh at him for his name. He showed you 300-something stores in Texas and northern Mexico. But the Central Market portion of their that division of HEB is unfreaking believable. Stuff from all over the world, everything from Buddha's hand. Yes, look it up. Buddha's hand is a fruit. Look it up. To, tree tomatoes, to Wagyu beef. And their seafood counters are unbelievable. The one in Houston, my buddy Jonathan runs that counter down there. It's one of the most beautiful seafood displays I've seen, outside of Houston's, seafood market display right there in that very store. Now, they had a moonfish, this opa, this big round flat fish that they brought in that was about 50-pounder that they put in there, right in the ice, and just as part of the display. It was awesome. They bring in all sorts of stuff. They would source stuff from all over the world for me. Langostinos from Europe. Langostino. If you know what langostino are, oh man, it's like a mini lobster. It's like a lobster and a shrimp bread, and just this hard-shelled, small, delicious, the most delicious shellfish ever. Anyway, yeah, entree's over, folks. We got dessert coming up, though. Stay tuned because I got a caller. Oh, no, that's not the right song. Dun, 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 dun. That was Barney Miller. Anyway, Joanne McCartney is going to be calling in. She's from Culinary Food. No, what is it? What is it called? CFC. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Come back. 2 minutes.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter at Food Biz Pro.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
Now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called Riduzone, RIDUZone.com, RIDUZone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to Riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. Riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDUZone.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
It's a funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone. RIDUZone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism, so you're burning more.
Yeah,
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com, RIDUZone.com.
And we are back for the final course. Yes, it is the dessert segment of the Food Biz Pro Show here with Patrick Mosher. We have 2 callers on the line. One is Joanne. Joanne is the owner of Culinary Fight Club, and we're going to bring her on in. And then we also have her chefery, Anthony. Anthony, I don't know your last name, but can you both hear me? I was having some phone problems.
Yes. Thanks for having us. It's Martorina. You just got to let it flow off.
Trina. Torina or Trina?
No, Martorina.
Oh, Martorina. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, see?
A little Italiano going on there?
Sicilian, so, we got to keep it honest.
There is a distinction, actually, Sicilian and Italian. I need to get that clear. Thank you very much for telling me. But, well, all right. So I was given notice last night that there may be an event coming up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area this coming Tuesday. It's a Culinary Fight Club event, which I'm going to let you give more information on about. And it was hinted around that I may want to throw my hat in the ring, and I was like, I probably want to learn a little more about this before I put myself out there in the public ring of scrutiny again. Not that I doubt my culinary prowess. Okay, maybe a little. I've been on the line in at least 4 days. So no, I'm just joking. But yeah, so all right. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. The first thing is Culinary Fight Club. I mean, can I talk about it? Can I not talk about it? The first rule is I'm supposed to talk about it. Is that?
Yeah, you know what? We always like to tease people and say you can't talk about it. But you know what? We're very social media driven, and that's the whole fun thing about it. Is like when you talk about Culinary Fight Club, people just want to get in the ring. Man, everyone loves a good, clean food fight, and that's just the fun thing about Culinary Fight Club is that you feel like you're part of this club. Even the people that attend the event, we have regulars that come back, and I'll joke with them. I'll be like, why don't you get in the ring? You love it so much. They're like, oh, I couldn't do that. But they just love watching the whole event throw down and unfold in that 1 hour of cooking time. A lot can happen, and it brings all the excitement there. Even people who can't cook, they want to jump in that ring, and they do want to cook. They'll tell me afterwards.
Well, in 1 hour, for all of you in the non-culinary field, you may have 10 hours to prep for a dinner, and you're thinking, oh, shoot, I don't have enough time. You're probably right. But 1 hour to create a dish, that's not just a dish, not just cooking something, trying to push yourself to the limits in 1 hour to create more than one little morsel of food is a true challenge, especially it's typically in a place you're not familiar with. You're competing head to head with other people. That's added pressure. And C, you're being judged by people you don't know. And if you do, they're not going to, well, you shouldn't, but even if you did, they're not your friend at that time. They're your judge, right? And so you add to that just the pure adrenaline rush, the fact that you're working with fire and sharp objects. Now, what could go wrong? I mean, how could anyone fail at that? Ever?
And we're even forgetting about the first 45 seconds before you even start cooking, the infamous pantry race. If that doesn't get your nerves going, honestly, it is so amazing. There's 16 items on that pantry. The chefs know what's out there. Sometimes they'll throw a few little extra things in there just for fun. But the rule is like the chefs can't touch the pantry once it's set. The chef-free is over there. We're watching. And the reason why is chefs will start to move items next to each other. They'll move the basil next to the sriracha sauce so that they just have to grab it in all one motion. And
we wouldn't do that.
Yes, you guys do. And I have to watch that constantly. Even chefs that know they shouldn't touch the pantry will touch the pantry. And then my favorite part is watching chefs run. We make them run about, anywhere from 15 to 20 feet. And I think that's the most cardio the chef has gotten in years.
That's a good thing I'm a cyclist. I'll just tell you. Can I take my bike with me and I'll just lock in and load?
You know what? I would love to see you on a unicycle. That would be pretty awesome. You just wheeling around the table.
I used to be able to ride a unicycle. I don't know if I can anymore. It's been at least 30 years. I could just do
How do you carry stuff? You can't carry anything in a unicycle.
You can.
There's no baskets or anything.
So he's going to have an apron.
You have to throw it.
No. No. You take one of those little. It's like the woven baskets that you use for fly fishing, right? You strap that around you. You throw the stuff in there.
No baskets. No baskets at all.
Come on, you want me to ride a unicycle and I can't carry a basket? All right, then I got an apron to work. That's fine. That's fine. I'll sew a kangaroo pouch on the apron. That'll work.
It's so funny seeing the chefs run up there. We've had times where the chefs are running so fast that they've knocked off the whole back end of the pantry. It literally is just gone on the ground. And one of the rules is if it's on the floor, it stays on the floor. You can't use that to cook with. And so it is 45 seconds. It goes by so fast, but it's amazing how much ingredients a chef can grab in their apron. They can use their apron, no baskets, no bags, no boxes, and it's amazing how much stuff they can get in the apron. It's like they've gone shopping at Costco and they got a cart full of stuff.
Well, I have a rule when I don't take a shopping list with the grocery because I'm just going to I'll go to buy soy milk and cereal, right? Because a chef's best friend at 2:00 in the morning when they get off work is cereal. And or almond milk or whatever. But I have a rule. I don't grab a basket or a cart if I don't have a shopping list. I have to carry it out in my hands. So you see me I got a couple apples under my chin. Right?
That's smart.
And I have I've got mustard stuffed in my back pocket, and I've my arm, and I'm waddling up there. But it's a good rule because I never spend more than $30. Because typically I'm buying accessories at that point, right? I'm not buying a center of the plate item like a protein. I'm not buying veal or beef or anything like that. But all right, I got a question for you, because one of my favorite shows ever on television. I don't watch much Food Network, and I'm nothing against Food Network, but put my damn show on. I pitched. Nothing against Food Networks, though. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just put it on. I'll start watching again. I promise. Your ratings will go up. Not like they aren't high enough already. But hey, any network that has 40 million Facebook followers is doing something right, or did anyway for a long time. But so Ian Hall's knife fight was one of my favorite, and we've talked. You spoke about having Ian Hall participate in your children's program, and so tell me a little bit though. How did the CFC actually get started? I mean, who was up late drinking one night? Said, "Let's cook and see who wins," or let's just judge other people and see who wins.
That was Juwan just drinking up late at night, but Juwan came from it, and I'm gonna talk like Juwan sitting on a stool and we're giving her like an award. Her whole idea behind this was that food brings people together, and so the first Culinary Fight Club was to raise money for a charity called Fight to Feed, and that's all it was. It was supposed to be a one-time event. And people came, they loved it, they packed, and as they were leaving, they were like, when's the next one? And, of course, Juwan at that point had a couple of drinks, and she said, next month. and the rest is history. Right, Juwan?
Like, you hear this? He loves to talk. Like, I think he dreams up things, like, every time. Like, if he's in a bad mood, I mean, like, Culinary Fight Club started because Juwan was smoking crack. And then the other times it's like, Juwan was riding a rainbow cloud.
There was also a unicorn. There was a unicorn.
So John was basically his third year out of culinary school, realized he was only going to make $9 an hour for the next 2 years, and was like, I'm getting high. And we're going to have we're going to cook.
That you have to, it's like one or the other. You have to go through that kind of rigor mortis to understand what's on the other side of the rainbow. Yes, there are unicorns. No, and Anthony's pretty much on the money. The reason why the concept of the Culinary Fight Club event came through was, I'm a planner by nature, and so I produce events and meetings, and so that's in my repertoire of easily doing. And I was trying to land a client, and we network as a profession. Like, you could say that, you could have a business, but you have to go networking, you go to trade shows, blah, 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 blah. And, the first thing you do is, hi, my name is such and such. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't care. Like, can you tell me what you do? Can you tell me what, are we going to get along? And, it was always painful for me, networking. Not that I was bad at it, but it was just like, I was just so tired of the same, pitch. And it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go to that. And eventually I curtailed myself to think I'm not going to any of it. And I used to send Anthony, like, go, you go. And that's how he became the networker, of the year, social media guy of the year, pardon me. And, with that said, this event to expedite our common ground and conversation platform. And so cooking is as long as we're, humans that need to cook our food, and we have to prepare our food, and we eat prepared food instead of just, going out into the trees or, killing the wild animals and just going at it. This is what we have to do, and that will never go out of style or conversation, as well as it's not a trend. Food and eating and feeding our bodies and nourishing is not a trend. It is a fact of life. The fact that remains that we have to go out and meet other people and find our common ground is a fact of everything, whether you're just a normal stay-at-home, whatever, to a professional. So birthed this idea, and that's what happened. We had one, and then we founded the charity Fight to Feed, which is about addressing food waste and getting it to those in need, as opposed to constantly absorbing landfills with, all the unnecessary, wasted food. And so this is how we came about. And exactly as Anthony said, we had one, and I'm like, got the client, I'm done. And, then those people were like, well, when's the next one? And then here we are. The one thing that I have a problem with is saying no to many things
Mm-hmm.
and many people. Because if I feel there's an idea that's worth exploring, it should be done right at this second, which drives everybody crazy and puts my team into a tailspin, because I'm like, why can't we do it? And, you know, half of them are, I think, that my teammates are challenged by why not, and the other half is like, oh, God, here she goes again. But at the end of the day, we all have fun.
Well, you know, and so here's another thing. As long as you correct course, right? Massive action beats planning every time. I learned that from a gentleman I paid a lot of money to go to seminars with, and he was absolutely right. You know, because you can sit around and plan things forever and ever, but at least you could take action. But if you take massive action and not massive does not mean disruptive, right? Just massive action. Take action, rally others to take action with you, and being an advocate doesn't mean being an activist. There are many ways to take action, but the fight to feed, you know, I was just doing my homework on that, and we'll share that on Spoony's webpage and as well as my pages. We'll get the word out, and yeah, fantastic organization. But I mean, why this format, really? Because I'll tell you what, as a chef, the grind is it's not just tedious, it's dreary sometimes. Like it really eats away at your soul one little bite at a time some days, and some years, some decades. And getting out and being able to associate with other chefs, socialize, and compete in a manner that's really truly competitive and aggressive but friendly is really important, because we are first and foremost, we want to feed people, right? That makes us happy. Otherwise, we wouldn't do this. But B, we're fiercely competitive, and we're artists. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a better format for us to showcase.
I was gonna say a lot of chefs like they sometimes don't know they like Culinary Fight Club. Sometimes they're like, oh, I don't know if I should do it. And then once they're in that ring, they get the bug, and they're like, when's the next one? I got to get back in. Some chefs get out of their comfort zone. We have a chef, Tim Davidson, a classically French, taught chef, and he jumped into chili. And you know what the funniest thing was? At the end of the event, he told me, he goes, I never made chili in my life. He goes, I didn't even know what chili was. And again, he lost, but he did the most creative chili. Like, he literally hollowed out like an avocado. Like he made an avocado bowl with the chili in the middle. It was it was artistic, and it was beautiful. And I just thought, you know what? He said it got me out of my comfort zone. I cook French food all the time, and no one ever says, hey, make me some chili, So dude, I think it really is that
he's in the
getting
wrong
out
household.
of that comfort zone.
And it is
in the wrong what?
Well,
it's also because, look, we're very it takes a long time to hone your skills in any field. Really, literally, they say 10,000 hours. I think that's wrong. To master your trade of any sort, it takes more than 5 years of 2,000 hours a week. I think it takes more than that. And in the culinary field, you never at any point in your life do you know everything there is to know. You can never know it. There's just too much.
You shouldn't, because you become a boring food person. And I think that as we as humans evolve, the things that we put in our bodies should evolve.
Absolutely.
And there's no one size fits all. And I might feel like, 5 different flavors of the universe today, and all in one day. So why should it be that I have to go and feed an unhealthy way when there's really quick fixes, and we just don't know that yet? And the platform, it's Anthony's version is much nicer. My version is, you know what? You really think you can do that? Let's see what you can do. Okay, well, here it is. And I think that if you can cook, you should be cooked. You should be able to cook anything, anywhere, anytime. Because I, as a person that is not a chef, and I don't have a commercial kitchen, I have to cook, for my kids and family on a drop of dime. And don't let me get that extra guest for no reason whatsoever, and I'm cooking for 10. Because from my nature of how I was raised, I got to feed everybody. And maybe that makes actually a lot of sense how Fight to Feed came through. But having said that, that's kind of where I thought it was like, chefs in executive kitchens and these massive, machines that they cook in. Yeah, it's very institutional. And I've been taught by some of the very large institutions from the kitchen and the back end of it where I wasn't the chef, but I did everything else around them, being the prep and everything. And I realized like how unhappy they were. But after hours, when we're just taking food and, piling into a house, they're cooking these amazing things that you would never get in a restaurant, never, not in a million years, because that restaurant doesn't exist. That flavor palette, that kind of loose format doesn't exist. And I thought, well, that's where the passion is. And they do that after like 15 hours of work. Like there's a thing there. And so when we platform our competitions, and you can say, oh, it's so unethical or not unethical, but like unconventional, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but it's not unrealistic. You could totally do it, and in fact, many people do it in their kitchens because they're lacking resources. However, how are we creating? Yeah. You're getting Michelin stars across the other side of the country that cook from literally stone, fires. And that's all they have. That's the one little thing. Let me tell you something. That's saying something about what kind of level of culinary that there is, and that's not always looking like a chef coat and a hat and, all this squeaky clean, cooking from a corporate kitchen. It comes from the artist. Like when we go back full circle to what Anthony was saying about Tim Davison and many chefs like that we have discovered and met and been honored to, be in quarters with because of this platform. And honestly, we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, going where food and those artists who work with food are taking us. And we're really not putting a whole lot of condition on there, except that food. There's a thing called food sport, and those who cook cupcakes don't belong in the arena with those who cook massive hunks of meat like our barbecue guys. There's a place and a time for everybody.
You know what though? So but you know what? Sometimes Miss Cupcake or Mr. Cupcake, surprisingly, can do it all. I mean, there's like Donna Anderson. She may not be the best savory chef when it comes to like working under that kind of pressure, but she held her own on was it Master Chef? I think was she on? And I'm telling you. And I'll tell you, she has created a career out of that. Here's what I challenge every chef out there to do. You didn't join this industry. You didn't join this industry to know what was going to happen every day and to cook the same damn dish day in, day out and have it all planned, because if you did, you would have left a long time ago. You would have not have survived 3 years or 5 years or 2 decades, let alone the first year, because you'd be disappointed that you didn't know what was going to happen every day. Because that's what we're adrenaline junkies. We do it for the thrill and the satisfaction of feeding others the things that we are proud of. Right, the dishes we've created, or even if you didn't create it, the food that you're cooking. And I challenge you, get back out of you're right, get out of your comfort zone. Really step up to the plate and cook.
There you go, Patrick.
My
you're pitching for yourself right now.
But I'm saying my challenge is for everyone that's listening right now. You should go home tonight and open up your fridge and make dinner out of your fridge. There's probably like 7 or 8 items in there. And I'll bet you'll make something incredible, something unplanned. And that's the thing. That I love that. I love when my family goes, we have nothing to eat.
Oh, yes, we do.
And I make, and I make them dinner, and they're like, well, how did you come up with that? And I'm like, that's all we had, so I put something together. That's the fun part about it. So I'm challenging everyone tonight listening. Open your fridge, make something out of it. Don't go shopping.
Hey, I made mac and cheese, I swear, from Cheez-Its, milk, butter, and linguine one night, and it was good.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, let me tell you,
that's gourmet.
Well, the Cheez-Its had probably a nice little crunch on there.
No. So I put them in a blender for as long as I could, and I made a powder. I just pulverized it. I shook it through the finest strainer I had, and then did that again and again and again until I basically powder and try to keep as much meal out as I could. And it, I surprised myself on that one. I may have been drinking, but it was yummy. And
but, allegedly, go with the allegedly.
Actually, no, I have 2 other witnesses that said it was pretty damn tasty. So they may have been drinking as well. But I mean, that's really what it's about. If you're not growing, you're dying, you're wilting on the vine. And so, I think it's important for all of us to get out there and challenge ourselves from a culinary perspective, but also from a I want to say, I don't want to say a personality, but that's really the only way to put it, is we stereotype ourselves. We do what? Pigeonhole ourselves into a little box, and we stay in that box, and we don't like to leave the box unless we're forced to leave the box, in which case we look for another job most of the times, right, as chefs. So don't do that. Get yourself out of the comfort zone more often. You never know. This might inspire you to come up with some new specials and you know, I know we kind of spoke off the air earlier, and yes, I am challenging myself. I am going to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring for next Tuesday night.
Nice.
Yeah. I have not cooked in a competition of that nature really since I was a culinary student. So I was part of a junior culinary team, which was we did quite well actually. A couple of my fellow teammates, Ian Kleiman owns a great place up in Colorado called the Inventing Room. He has one in Dubai and one in Denver. It's all molecular gastronomy. He's got these floating plates that span over magnets, and I'm like, this guy's out of this world. He has a big truck that he takes to places. But these are the guys that inspire me in culinary school. He's a third generation chef or aspiring chef. His grandfather's a master chef out of Norway, and his dad was an instructor at the school. Kid's 18, cooking his ass off, running circles around all of us guys in our 20s and some in their 30s. But those guys inspired me, and he tries to make something new every day, use an ingredient he's never used every day. And you know, I think I pigeonholed myself. I love sitting here behind the mic. It's a lot of fun. And I'm going to continue to do it, and I'm a hired gun. I get hired to do big catered events and private parties. And, you know, I teach sushi classes and I still consult. You know, I'm helping grow some formerly well-known big, F&B corporations that got hit by the Me Too scandal and some other stuff. So, yeah, I know what I'm doing. The thing is, do I have the chops to stand up and show the world that I can? And, hell yeah! I'm in.
Nice. I like it.
No,
hey, you'll never know until you put yourself out there.
So let me ask you a real quick question. How many events do you hold on average per year?
So this year,
fluctuate anywhere from like, it could go anywhere from 69 to like 80 some. It kind of depends. You know, did you arbitrarily pick the year?
You arbitrarily picked 69, really, dude? That was the first.
Yeah, I did. I thought Stevie caught on to that. I think that's exactly how many we're doing this year, so that's why I was just going with it.
I'm just teasing.
I like to say 80. Juwan likes to back me down to the 69. So. It's a kid show. I'm not quite sure.
Thank you. Try the wheel. I'm here till Wednesday. So do all of these events lead to? So this one here in Dallas, I know it leads to. There's a gold ticket awarded, which is direct entry to the final week here in Dallas. The final showcase of somewhere between 500 and 1,000 chefs show up for the WFC event in October. So do all of the events end up in that, or are there only select ones that? I don't know how this all works. So I'm pretending to be ignorant.
Okay. You want to take that one, Anthony?
So here's the thing. As Culinary Fight Club has grown over the last 6 years, for the last 2 years, we first started with regionals, and now we have something called the Culinary Fight Fest that's in Chicago in October. Last year, we had $10,000 in prizes and cash. I don't know what that winning prize is going to be this year. So what happens is the chefs that win in all the different regions will come to Chicago for a 2-day event and throw down and compete in Chicago. And it's a lot of fun. That I really like, because we see all the different chefs from all of our different regions, all of the ones that have won a Culinary Fight Club, and they really get to bond with each other, and it's really, really amazing. In fact, last year, you know, chefs that didn't make it past the first round, they jumped in on that finals to help other chefs, you know, compete. And it was a really incredible thing to watch, a brotherhood of chefs in the kitchen, and had some amazing dishes, in the finals for the Culinary Fight Fest.
That's awesome. You know, and I actually heard a little bit, when I was at the NRA show, I heard a little bit about that from some other people that were, you know, in the past affiliated with CFC. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to it. Do you have your judges lined out for next week already?
Well, yeah, we are. We have Chef Trey Wilcox, who is season 3 and 6 top chef, as well as he's a chef owner of Chef Trey Wilcox. I believe it's cooking. I hope I don't.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. I'll put a link to him up on our. Yeah.
Yeah, cooking, or something like that. I get them mixed up, and then we have Randy White, who is he is really kind of pitching his steak. So the first thing he said was, "Oh, I can show my steak. I'm the champion steak." I'm like, I didn't even know that. So this is kind of how we do. Like, we connect with each other, like almost like 6 degrees of who's in the food sport world. And
I may or may
all
not.
of us
I may or may not.
I
may or may not know Randy. He does a show here on Monday, so I'm gonna have to pretend like Randy. We are no longer friends. I can't talk to you till after Tuesday. Sorry, buddy.
Well, the beautiful part about our judging and scoring system is we'll push you back. So it's not numbers. It's not collected by a data system. It's good old-fashioned. I give you a 10. We might as well holding up a sign. And the 4 categories of judging, you can't really get around it.
All right, hey, we got about
many judges.
We got 20 seconds left. I'm going to tell you one thing. You can say whatever you want.
yeah.
Please go to Spoony Radio. Look at the share, like, host a watch party, something for the video. 20 seconds. Last 20 seconds are yours. Go.
Go, Anthony.
Check us out at culinaryfightclub.com. We've got an event coming to you. Of course, Dallas is coming up next week. We want to see all your smiling faces out there. Get in the ring and cook something tonight.
All right, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much. Thanks, Juwan. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate the last-minute offer to be on the show, and I'll see you next week. We'll probably talk in between about some other stuff. Y'all have a good evening, and yes, go like, share, tell all your friends and family, and host a watch party, because why not? It's fun. It's food. Don't forget, you are what you eat. Be kind to yourselves. Chef Patrick signing off. Listen or starve.